So my awareness of I had never seen Donnie Darko. I knew people loved it. That a certain
type
maybe was kind of signaling I'm sort of a cerebral. I like things that are trippy. I like things that really make you think.
That's pretentious was the right word though. There was a certain. If someone told you that was their favorite movie, I don't want to have a really long conversation with that person.
I don't know. It depends. Well, I'm trying to get out of this sort of like stereotyping people, sort of based on the art they consume.
No. I just meant so nostalgia can be a negative thing too, right? I mean, I know this feeling of nostalgia both hurts and is warm, but I mean, maybe that's the wrong word to use. I had a very clear thing that I felt about a person who'd bring up that movie, and mainly it was something bad about me. A person that I instantly went smarter than me. Mm-hmm. Moving on, you won't like me that much when I tell you my favorite movie is What About Mary? That's not it. Something about Mary.
What about
10 Dresses? How to Marry a Man That's Not Greek. Mm-hmm. Am I hitting on all the top ones? Yes. My best friend's.
I see all of these.
I know. My best friend's road trip.
Can I ask you something? We had this what I thought was delightful exchange on our podcast last time where we were doing like adventures in your dyslexia. Yeah. Trying to figure things out.
Road mapping my neurons.
Is that okay?
I don't know. I like learning. I like trying to figure out what it is that is misfiring and maybe I can make it better.
Was I a little too flippant?
No, you okay, you acknowledge that it is a thing that affects me. You acknowledge that I am smart and you don't think I'm dumb when I can't recall things. So that's all I need from you. I need you to I need you to not doubt that I'm struggling for a legit reason. That's what bothers me. When people, because dyslexia is was just a term for someone who did something backwards or backwards, or it was used in such a playful, like dismissive way for my entire childhood and even up until just a year. I mean, people are just more aware now. Mm-hmm. But the word, people think they know what it means and they think it's funny. And they think it's funny to call someone that whenever they do something that is mixed up. Mm-hmm. That bothers me. But you don't do that.
But I do I do think it's charming but it's like, am I making fun? I don't think of myself as making fun of you when we're like trying to make with Don Bluth, John Wilkes Booth.
Shut up.
JFK.
My whole head is just one big word association project, and I'm just impressed I ever get anything out of my mouth.
Oh yes, you're a goddamn hero, and yes, we have a podcast where we have to talk about a lot of names and dates and shit. But I think it is part of what makes you, and why I think our podcast works is because we're very different.
Yeah, thinkers.
Types of speakers, too. I do want to acknowledge to the listener that I don't know what the answer is.
You're not saying you understand it, and you don't know what it's like to have it. You're not belittling it. You just find those quirks in me charming, and so you're celebrating the way it here we go again. The way it expresses itself in my brain.
Yes, and if we have,
and I give you permission.
If we have funny exchanges about it, that I both feel like it's entertaining and don't want it to belittle it or make it seem like I
think
don't
it's
take
a
it seriously.
discovery of it.
I don't know.
I think we're examining it. I think we're giving it a little bit of airtime, so maybe people can relate to it. And lots of people are undiagnosed and just think they're bad readers, think they're not the type of person who reads. I literally thought I'm a non-reader. That's not a thing. I love information. I love audiobooks. I am a fucking reader. It's just hard. Mm-hmm. And there's just especially Gen X and Boomer generations who this just wasn't something. What were we going to do about it in school? So they didn't even bother. identifying people. They're just bad students.
Haven't you said, like, whenever you hear somebody doesn't like to read or, like, can't read, you just think, dyslexia?
Yeah, it's 1 in every 4 people. They just
1 in every 4?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's I mean, it's a huge part of the population, and people think they just have bad handwriting, don't understand how to read clocks, left and right bewilders them. They think they're like ditzy and quirky. It's like, no, your neurons are literally firing differently. The part of your automatic process part of your brain does not fire. You are constantly using the learning part of your brain. The part of your brain where you're first figuring something out is what I use every time I read. That's why I have to completely concentrate. I cannot have music or distraction. And I get tired. I'm cognitively exhausted if I read for too long. And that's why. Because it's like I'm in school the entire time I'm doing it.
And working, like, way, way harder than...
Well, that's what I'm saying. When you're learning something, your brain is working a lot harder than once it's an automated process. Mm-hmm. My brain will never make understanding sound. It's sounds. It's not, the letters aren't all switched around. It's that sounds, the fact that letters make sounds is something my brain is never going to understand. So that's why everything is just a word puzzle. Shape, everything's a sight word. Because the sounds that those letters make, I know they exist. I can't hear them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Totally. But what if you had the God particle?
What?
What if you were on God's timeline? What does Donnie say to his teacher?
Fuck! Where are we going?
His teacher's like, well, Donnie, you can't.
No, we can't have this. You know what struck me about this movie? Let's talk about Donnie Darko, why don't we? Was it religious? They brought up God a lot. Mm-hmm. And it always stood out to me their need to classify Donnie as not an atheist. He's agnostic. Is that because they knew they were going to kill him? They didn't want people who were Christians to think...
Who calls him an agnostic rather than an atheist?
So a big part of this movie is the therapy sessions he has with his therapist, and she like hypnotizes him and stuff. It's kind of a nice relationship. It seems to be warm. He seems to get stuff out of it. But the last session, she makes a point to tell him, you know, Donnie, you're not atheist. You blah 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 agnostic. And then that's how it, like, that's it. That's the whole point, was to say not damned, just quizzical.
Because you are saying...
Because right afterward, not long after, they kill him.
Who kills him?
Life. He does not leave his bed. A jet engine falls in his room and he dies. The whole movie would not have happened.
I guess we should explain the movie.
Well,
It begins...
I'm Tarantinoing this shit, starting from the end.
And we're in the suburbs. Button. Okay. AKA hell. Everything's so lily white.
You know what I like about this movie?
What? The font?
The amazing intro and outro songs to begin with. Just long spanning the whole song. They do a lot with it. But things are just a little off right away. And they seem more sinister than they are. That's really the theme of the whole movie. Something sinister seems like it's happening the entire time.
Yeah, because it's the suburbs and they're fucked up.
Well, no, the daughter, like, delightfully skipping up to the dad who's doing yard work to ask him a question. He then leaf blows the shit out of her so she'll go away. And they never say anything about it.
Dad.
That's what I was going to say. Those parents laugh the right amount.
Too much. The dad, like my own dad, is laughing at horrific times.
But it's a real defense mechanism. It is really something people do to break tension, and that was a tense fucking family.
Yeah.
There's
video footage of my dad. My I don't know if I should tell this story. My sister is adopted. She was born in South Korea. She's a foreign adoptee, and I'm 16 years older than her. So when I was 16, my family adopts her. And the way that she joins our family is she travels across the ocean on a plane.
When she's 6 months old.
Yes, with couriers. with people who were like, contracted by the adoption agency to bring her, to fly with her. And so we have the video of my family meeting her for the first time. And my mom is crying and hugging the couriers and meeting her new daughter for the first time. And my dad on the video says like, "Hey Matt, have you seen my brown belt?" What? Which was a reference to Everybody Loves Raymond. Because there's an episode where Raymond's wife, Deborah, gets arrested, and she calls Raymond from jail. "Oh, come pick me up." And he's like, "Okay, I'm on my way." Wait. Have you seen my brown belt?
Right.
So this is my dad's go-to.
In the midst of a very serious moment.
Yeah.
How can I ruin this for everyone? But it's really just help.
He's not.
He's not. He just has good timing.
Yeah, it's good timing, but
it is. He totally identified the right moment to do that in a movie that would have been funny
for months, I'm sure.
Well, maybe he wanted to give it to Maggie.
There you go.
Matt named his sister. Matt, you and your brother did. And of course, you named her after The Simpsons.
We had,
like every mature boy does.
We had like family meetings where we'd first vote on whether we wanted to adopt a baby at all. Did
the Yays have it?
We voted against it 3-1, but my mom had the 1, so she won.
Right.
So we got the baby. But yeah, we were discussing names, and
discussing.
Me and Elliot both loved The Simpsons, and we suggested Maggie. And my mom said I wanted to name her Rose, which is her middle name, and we're like, no, Maggie, because she's a baby, like Maggie from The Simpsons. So that's where
there you go.
From. So that's a relevant story. Dads love to make jokes.
Oh.
At bad times.
You'd say they even have their own kind of humor.
One might say that.
Their own kind of jokes.
But I feel like, having not seen this movie, knowing when it was made, and knowing the climate of the time, sort of right before 9/11, sort of angst about just consumerism. Like American Beauty had come out 2 years earlier, and it's like, look, middle class life is hell, but a bag floats in the air, and that's lovely.
A bunny hops through your golf course.
Masturbates thinking about teenagers. What does it all mean?
Okay.
So I'm kind of getting but then crucially, Donnie takes medication. You're like, oh my, medication, the worst of all sins. Because I feel like it was very fashionable at the time to think about, not from like a big pharma capitalist way, but like they're trying to make us all the same kind of way.
Yeah, almost always. But this is also the type of mental illness that's just a little bit more easy to make a movie about, because it's got a lot more going on with it that you can show in action and not just like deep thoughts. So of course he's paranoid schizophrenic.
Paranoid schizophrenic.
Right, which is usually the one in the movies. And I think that is something common with that issue, is that you don't want to take your medicine. But I feel like it's a trope in movies, like hide it under their tongue, or just pretend it's a big old thing.
But what I'm saying is, 5 minutes into the movie, I think, oh, this is a movie. Everything that's going to happen, every trippy thing that I've heard about is caused by his medication, and this is a movie about how medicine is bad because it turns us all into drones.
Got it.
And takes away our individuality and our creativity. And let me say, there's a lot of that going on in this movie, and those are the parts of the movie I don't like. I like the movie a lot. I really do.
What parts?
It's Donnie in class being like, he's like, chaos is creation, destruction is art. It'd be great if we burned down all the money.
But he takes his medication. So you're pointing out parts where he is acting himself, even though he is taking medication.
No, I'm saying I was picking up on a vibe that I worried the movie would be all about, which would be the sort of American Beauty examination of conformity and mindless consumerism, sort of sanding away the rough edges of people. And that there are times in the movie where Donnie, Jake Gyllenhaal, does a great job of playing an obnoxious, douchey, sort of thinks he's smarter than he is teenage boy, who's lecturing his teacher about how we're all just turning into mindless capitalist drones, and really the real beauty is in people living their pure forms.
Got it.
And those, I'm saying, are the weakest parts of the movie.
Got it. You know where there's a really good... All the family scenes I like, because they have such a great balance of showing how you are annoyed constantly by your siblings, but little acts of kindness to be like, okay, no, he loves her.
And his sister's played by Maggie Gyllenhaal,
which is fucking weird. Does that not make you creeped out? At least they don't do anything overly emotional with each other, but like in that Friends episode where that woman's just a little too into her own brother. The tickling episode. Am I making that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was fun. Can you? Sorry, you're worried that that's going to happen?
I just feel like in real life they like each other too much.
Oh, okay.
No, and maybe that's because I'm jealous because I don't have like that kind of relationship with my brother.
I don't want anybody to have that kind of relationship.
I know you don't. You make me very cognizant of not ever to enjoy anyone I'm really related to.
What? That's not fair.
I mean, too much.
Too.
Don't you be too close. Not in a jealous way, just in a, what kind of scam are you running?
I am very distrustful of families and people liking each other.
Yep.
I always think somebody's running a grift, running a game. What kind of game? There's like a scene where Maggie Gyllenhaal's talking on the phone to her boyfriend, and she's in. What is she in? Is she in Donnie's room? Donnie comes in.
I don't know.
Regardless of what is going on, it was.
She wasn't in her room.
And it was just, I feel like you don't often see that in movies, which is just people like being in somebody else's room for no reason. And then the person whose room it is comes in and like, what? Huh? And then the other person just leaves without explanation.
You're so right. Well, because you do, whenever cordless phones became a thing, you do, if you wonder.
Yeah.
I do the same thing when I'm on the phone. Mm-hmm. If I don't deliberately sit down. And yeah, you just end up places.
So that was nice.
It was nice.
But then Donnie sees.
There was a reason.
Oh.
Because she is complaining, or not complaining, she's having a totally normal conversation, but she mentions, Donnie went apeshit at school and he got a whole bunch of new furniture. But the two things were unrelated because the thing fell through his ceiling, so he had to get an all-new room. That's why the room didn't look like his room before. A thing fell through it. His room is completely redone, all that was new furniture.
They sure built that fast.
Yeah, it was all wooden built-ins, too. What the fuck?
Donnie is drawn out of his bedroom one night. Why? He's drawn to a golf course. Ooh, the ultimate symbol of suburbia. And there he sees the very creepy rabbit.
Right.
Bunny rabbit.
Frank.
And Frank tells him the world's going to end unless something, what does he say?
He just gives him an exact count. I don't think he gives him a way to get out of it.
But because Donnie has been drawn out of his room by this, when a jet engine falls out of the sky...
That was attached to a plane they cannot find.
Yeah. We realize it's a miracle. Almost like divine intervention.
You're right.
Donnie was saved. And...
Bovine intervention. I wish that were a cow, and then bovine intervention would have totally worked. Right.
Somewhere, J.J. Abrams and Damon Lindelof saw all of this, and they're like, okay, great. Everything we ever do will be about this. About weird objects appearing where they're not supposed to, and... planes, but mysterious planes.
Unexplained planes.
Yeah. Animals.
From a different plane, you might say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Timelines.
Wormholes.
So what's going on? Well...
Do you know that to this day, Jake Gyllenhaal does not know what was going on in that movie?
Really?
Isn't that funny? I just think that's funny. Why didn't they tell him?
So this was the debut feature film by Richard Kelly.
Mm-hmm. Who's done like 3 other things.
A writer, director, and he has a lot of ideas. Too many ideas, I would say.
He has an editing problem. I think when you have too many ideas and you put them all on the screen, you have an editing problem. And I think the thing that saved him was the amazing actors he managed to get, and the fact that they did it in 28 days. They shot this bitch in 28 days, which just happened to be the amount of calendar days that passed by on the actual movie. That was an accident.
Wow. So we got Jake Gyllenhaal in...
Jake and Maggie.
One of his first big roles after October... his first movie was City Slickers. He was a child in City Slickers. And...
Drew Barrymore, Patrick Swayze, and Noah Wyle. And also the mom I know.
Mary McDonnell. She was the president on Battlestar Galactica, which you didn't watch, but she was the president's wife in Independence Day. She's a character actress. She's great. She's good. Lovely. Been in a million things. Got an Oscar nomination for Dances with Wolves. She's very good in Donnie Darko.
Yes.
The dad, I do not know the dad.
Don't know that guy.
but
he's good.
Very funny, little shitty dad. Not shitty like
he's
a
little
bad
shitty
dad. He's a little stinker.
Yeah. He's got a little stinker face.
Yeah. And Donnie's dealing with some stuff. And he goes to a school where everyone wears the same thing, a uniform. Almost like they're trying to sand off the rough edges. Turn them all into... I'm just going to keep repeating this.
Okay.
And they read a book about mindless consumer capitalists, and also about rabbits whose field is getting invaded by the machinery of modern life.
Man, you're really connecting
destroying
some
their way of life.
Fucking dots.
Well, so I watched some YouTube videos trying to make sense of the movie, and there's tons of videos that are like everything you missed about Donnie Darko. Easter eggs are fun,
but they don't always mean something.
Or they can mean to...
Are there extra Easter eggs because it's a bunny? It's all connected, man.
I think there's this thing. I think it happens in movies a lot, where you're a director making your first movie, and you're like, I'm putting in every idea I've ever had, and every
might be my own
frame
shot.
of this is going to mean something, and everything's going to foreshadow something else, and everything's going
even
to
if I never get around to
something else. So Donnie plays a video game where a car gets overturned, just in the same way that the car crash happens later in the movie, and there's like shit like that is happening. You can read the movie as him being a Jesus figure, and he goes to see the Last Temptation of Christ, but also the Evil Dead, and it's a little too it's a little too cute.
Yeah,
but it's often why directors' first movies are better when they're much more modest. Like, I like going for broke, but I think you can think of packing all your ideas in as being synonymous with being ambitious. You know what I'm saying?
Only if you're going to tie them up and make them count. I see why you could be confused, and maybe you're of that mind of, I'll work this out in post, or this will pay off, or you put something in and it's just like, maybe no one will notice it. You always meant to make that mean something. It just kind of got left there.
And maybe it was different before the internet, before Lost, when, if somebody in Lost read a book, then people online would be like, what's the significance of that book? How is that book
Right, you're saying
explained?
that foreshadow, sometimes things are just things.
The director obviously means for them to have significance.
Oh, the car crash thing was obvious.
Maybe this was an era where you could just sort of casually say like, oh yeah, fun fact, that book actually gives you the secret to the whole movie. And it's not
Chekhov's book.
Yeah.
Am I saying the right word?
I don't know. Yeah, Chekhov's gun. I'm sorry, I'm kidding. We watched the director's cut, which is I think adds like 30 more minutes, but crucially, Donnie stumbles upon a book, The Philosophy of Time Travel, whose text appears on screen and basically explains what's going on.
I feel like it switches to a new movie then. I feel like it's 3 movies. One about mental illness, one about space and time travel, one about family. Like it was an interesting. I completely forgot all of the time travel elements of this.
From when you saw it originally?
Yeah.
Okay.
That did not stick in my brain at all.
Do you think that the people who get attached to this movie, what parts of it do you think they get attached to?
I think there's like 2 or 3 different ways to get attached to it, and that's what I'm saying because it's 3 different movies. I could see several reasons. I know people who are solely into it because of the time travel aspect. Which, do you think they even handle it very well? Do they? Wasn't her book kind of bullshit? Like, what was the book read like scripture? It didn't sound scientific.
No.
The vector is the beloved sacred.
It was not supposed to be scientific, I guess.
I thought she...
I don't know. I don't know what I want, because I was responding to how much I didn't know what was going on, and I'm like trying to figure it out. Right.
We and you were trying to figure out if there were 2 universes being displayed at the same time, and which acts went to which universe. We were doing pretty good there.
I thought because this is like a movie that you're supposed to figure out. So as we're watching it, I'm trying to figure it out, and I'm like, oh, here's what's happening from scene to scene. It's edited in such a way where you're supposed to feel like you're watching a linear story, but actually you're watching 2 unconnected universes.
And you were right and wrong.
I wasn't right at all, really, because everything that happens after the plane crash at the beginning takes place in the alternate universe.
Yes, but that sense you were getting was right. We were in something that was disconnected from what the actual reality ended up being.
Yeah, but
I know you had a specific.
I thought that like there were scenes, like things happening in scenes weren't leading to things happening in the scenes that followed. Like there didn't seem to be like a causal connection. Like you pointed out, it seems like Donnie gets expelled from school, but then he's just right back at school.
He did not get expelled. He got expelled from after-school activities. My point was not that he shouldn't have been at school at all. My point was that when he went to the, what would you call it, assembly, where they were being fed up that bullshit by Patrick Swayze, that would have been during normal school hours. But the way he was escorted out of that was a big interruption and a big deal. So someone who had already been in a lot of trouble, then did that, then there's no way. Oh, yeah, expelled. That's what you said. You said he was expelled from school. My point was that he should have definitely been suspended, and so the very next day he should not just be at school again. That's your point, and that's my point. Thank you.
Sometimes it seems like he's a total loner, but then other times he has friends.
Yeah.
Sometimes he seems like a nerd who gets picked on, but then other times he's like he can take charge against the bullies.
He feels so. The big theme of the movie is how you die alone, and how that disturbs him. That's kind of the point. He's got two very doting friends who are nothing like him. He's got a teacher who's into him, thinks he's really smart. He's even got a fucking girlfriend who, even though he's very strange, she sticks around the entire movie. So he finds, and he's got a family that's super loving, even though they have their issues. This character finds a way to seem completely alone the whole time, even though he's got all the things he should need to feel fulfilled and attached and connected and loved, including a therapist is actually pretty good. But the whole time he feels like he's alone.
Mm-hmm. Because it's told from his point of view.
Maybe.
You also don't know if everything you're seeing is actually happening. Then there's elements of hypnosis. There's this therapist saying, the drugs I prescribed you are just placebos. They don't do anything.
I forgot about that.
But then you're like, well, but is that just part of his delusion? Is this actually what's happening? Is he mentally ill at all? I do like I do like while I'm watching how much I feel like I can't grasp onto what's happening. Mm-hmm. Since I've watched all these YouTube videos, like it does make me think the movie's less. Deep. I just think less of the movie than I did when I was watching it. But I really enjoyed it while I was watching it. But anything, I'm very tired of Christ narratives, of this character is actually Jesus. I would like it more if Donnie were not. I like if Charita Chen were Jesus and Donnie is like John the Baptist or something, like showing her the way, because he takes her headphones. He's like, one day everything will be good for you, I promise. Time travel, which is my favorite subject, and
that and Satan.
God, Satan time travel.
Damn.
A time traveling Satan.
He's beyond time, though, right?
Oh, my. Now I'm going to have to write that movie. You have to make an effective time travel story, you either have to make the subject time travel, or time travel can be an element, but there's something else that you can grab onto emotionally. So in Back to the Future, you're really concerned about Marty and his parents. Or in Back to the Future 2, you're really concerned with the implications of time travel.
So are you saying that it's you either have to be so focused on time travel that you get all the details right and it has to make sense, or it has to be kind of beside the point or parallel with the point. That way it's not super important if you don't make all kinds of sense.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Because the time travel that's happening in this movie is... Well, is it even time travel?
I don't think so.
We get a tangent universe, which is an alternate universe caused by some sort of time. Time, you see, is unstable. Usually stable, but sometimes something can happen. We don't know what, but it causes this tangent universe where something that wasn't supposed to happen happened. And in this case, it's that Donnie lived because Donnie was supposed to die, and Donnie was drawn out of his room by Frank.
Why did it snap back? If those two things are parallel, then both would be true at the exact same time. Did we just switch back and see the other universe that was happening?
No, what happens is Donnie starts to become more aware of his own powers, and the book that he reads explains that there's like a chosen one who, or a blessed one, I forgot what the word is, but who will get these special powers to use in the tangent universe. The tangent universe will collapse in 28 days because it's very unstable, because time is very unstable. And so the person, this chosen one, has to fix everything.
Doesn't it seem like Frank is chosen?
Or what happens is a black hole, this tangent universe, will collapse upon itself with such power and magnitude that it can destroy the actual universe, the primary universe.
Okay.
And so Donnie is the chosen one, starts becoming aware of his powers of telekinesis, the ability to see, when like the liquid tubes in the air, they show...
But telekinesis is when you move things with your mind.
Yes. These show where people are going, which I didn't notice. I would never have known if I hadn't watched the YouTube videos.
Oh, no, that I knew.
And in this universe...
That's how he got drawn to the gun.
Oh.
It brought him there.
Universe, yeah, but I didn't realize that it was showing like where other people were walking.
Well, it was predetermined, right? Like those people had not gone that direction yet, but as long as you can see the trail, you can see where they are going.
So he becomes aware of these powers and becomes aware that there are things in this universe that are trying to help him. And one thing that can happen is people can die and then come back to life to help him, and that's what happens with Frank. Frank, who Donnie himself shoots, then goes back in time and comes back as a bunny and saves Donnie, and then because he
saves Donnie just so that he can be destroyed.
That leads Donnie to going to flood the school in the middle of the night, which leads to school getting canceled, which leads to him and him and Jena Malone having the conversation that leads to them start dating, which is what leads. Eventually she dies, but at the same time, Donnie exposes Patrick Swayze as a creep, which is why which is why the chaperone on the school trip can't go, because she has to stay behind to defend Patrick Swayze, the sex predator, and then which leads Donnie's mom to go instead, and then
what happens with that? Well, then there's a plane thing with the mom and the daughter.
He causes the plane thing. He uses telekinesis to take the engine off.
That's their plane?
Yeah, that's their plane.
So they die too.
Because there's an artifact from the primary universe that ends up in the tangent universe, and you have to return that artifact to the primary universe to set everything right.
Wait, do they live, the mom and the dad?
They die in the tangent universe, but everyone dies in the tangent universe because Donnie destroys the tangent universe by setting everything right by returning the artifact to the primary universe.
Okay.
It makes a lot of sense.
God.
And it's very touching and moving because Donnie sacrifices himself. Right. He's a superhero, you see.
Yeah, but he's already seen what his life is going to be like if he doesn't. He's probably pretty smart. I mean, but he then creates a world where Patrick Swayze is not caught, therefore continues his child sex ring, which destroys hundreds of lives. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. Is he that big of a hero?
No, he's the villain.
Who?
Donnie.
Because he spared himself. What?
Well, I was trying to follow you. You said, is he that big of a hero?
I'm saying he's got to choose between ruining his own life and saving hundreds of children's lives, or fixing his life.
No, the whole world would have ended. The actual primary world would have been destroyed because the force of the black hole caused by the tangent universe collapsing would have destroyed.
I've slipped into a coma.
I know. If it were based on... There's so many good movies about time travel theory that use real physics.
Okay, but I would like it better if there really were a more dilemma choice. Like, you could see why Donnie would pick for himself to die, to spare himself all those things, all those tragic things he would have done, but he'd have to be choosing against anyone ever finding out about Patrick Swayze's underground ring.
You're so right. Yes,
that would be more interesting
choice. Yes, if it's the whole universe is going to end.
But then it's like, okay, well, got it.
Choice,
right? No.
But then maybe nobody has a choice. Maybe everything is deterministic. And there's also these theories that everything that happens in the tangent universe is on repeat. So like, maybe that's why these scenes seem disconnected, because we're seeing this play over and over and over again until he can finally get it right, like Groundhog Day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about Patrick Swayze's role in this movie. It would have been very disturbing for me because obviously I'm a Dirty Dance fanatic, but his reach had to mean something. Like he was infecting the whole town. So I feel like that was like telling you, like, if he keeps going, this is going to be a movement far beyond this town. He's going to have access to more and more families. In the video that they show, the very cheesy, funny video of him changing lives, he slaps that kid on the butt. And I remember that standing out because that wasn't sports. That wasn't his kid. There was no reason for that. And then it turns out he's a creep. So I'm thinking his universe is just going to keep expanding. His access to people, his ring, his power, his money, his ability to hide all of his things that he's doing, his protection. If he's famous, it's harder to arrest him.
We look to these charlatans to give us answers, to make the world easy for us to understand. Make a two-sided spectrum.
Right. Fear and love.
Fear and love. We need to look to people like Donnie who can say, no, there's more to it than that.
Well,
I am not just going to put the world into one or two qualities.
I'm just saying.
Patrick Swayze is so charismatic, and his ideas seem so intuitive that we just want to follow him.
Not my point.
Really, something sinister.
Yeah, it's super sinister, yes. But, okay, still, even if Donnie's mom and dad, his girlfriend, mom, daughter, damn it, mom, sister, girlfriend, that guy Frank, all those people die in that bad universe where Patrick Swayze is caught. It seems really selfish choice. Like, my little world is fucked, so I'm going to kill myself so that it gets better. But Patrick Swayze has the reach to fuck all kinds of worlds.
But Donnie doesn't kill himself. What are you saying?
He allows himself to die so that those other people don't die. But meanwhile, Patrick Swayze is not going to get caught because all those other things didn't happen either.
That's not the choice he's making. He's making the choice.
I think it is.
No, he knows that the whole universe is going to
end.
It's going to end no matter what. I mean, whenever superheroes save the world, they're also saving all the evil stuff that happens in the world that isn't, like,
okay, that's
Thanos
a really good point.
Snapping people out of existence.
All right.
But, Iron Man is not saving the world from child predators. He's actually saving the child predators of the world. You know what I'm saying?
Why don't you say it 3 more times, though?
Who's the
oh my God,
MVP acting-wise of the movie?
I can't give it to Drew Barrymore, but I want to.
Really?
No, she's kind of... She's a little bit ridiculous in this movie. That hair.
But it's like you could argue the way the bored delivery, the sort of detachment and seeming above it all.
Yeah, she really settles into it.
That those could all be performance choices, and that because this is a weird, fucked up world where
Drew Barrymore isn't all those wonderful things I'd come to expect her being. I just saw Home Fries. I had just seen Never Been Kissed, and then she's Ever fucking After, one of my load-bearing beams, and then she's this.
One of the best movies you chose.
Thank you. Well, God damn it. There's just not that many performances outside of Donnie Darko's, so I don't know. Maggie Gyllenhaal.
You think he's good?
I never think much about him. And you said that that's a sign that he's doing it right. Because he does.
I was kind of kidding.
Oh, well, I don't ever notice him being bad, but I never stop and think that was good. I'm sure Brokeback Mountain, he was amazing. I just don't remember it. I only saw it one time.
Yeah, but he's like the less... I think he's really good. But he's with Heath Ledger, who gives like this all-time performance. But I think he's just as good.
I think he's solid.
I think he's wonderful. Like as an actor. I don't... but he's kind of... You don't notice him until... Like
Spotlight. Not Spotlight. Nightcrawler.
Yeah, where he's doing something creepy or weird. But playing in Zodiac, he's playing an obsessive.
Well, he's very good at that. Yeah. He's very good at getting excitable.
But I don't think I was aware. Like, I think my only awareness of him was that there were rumors that he might replace Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man.
Okay. Oh, you mean at this time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I thought anything about him until Brokeback. But actually, weirdly, I think my favorite performance is Mysterio. From Spider-Man, from the most recent Spider-Man.
That is an interesting choice.
I think he might be my favorite.
He's very good in that.
He might be. I think he's my favorite Marvel villain.
Sure.
And my favorite performance from the Marvel universe. He goes from noble and heroic to just the shittiest and just delightfully evil.
Right.
It was just, isn't it, man, it's been almost a year since the last Marvel movie came out, and it feels like it's been like 20 years. Like, it feels like
but everything feels far away.
I know.
Pre-COVID. So.
Post-corona. But, like, there was a Marvel movie every 2 months. Oh. And now it's been almost a year, and I don't know when the next one will come out.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with it, too. It just seems like such a big... It seemed like an unstoppable... You're just on a conveyor belt, and suddenly you realize, like, oh, I'm not on the conveyor belt anymore. That's weird. Not saying I want to get back on it, but, like...
They need to reboot. That's just what they do. There's a phase of them.
Yeah, we're in phase 4 now.
And then there needs to be a lull, and then there needs to be, oh, yeah, this guy!
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good that there's a lot of time. I miss movies.
Okay. I'm sorry.